Hello again, dear friends, and welcome to another edition of Tommy Chris TV. Great to have you with us, as always. Our guest today is artist Monica Currie, and welcome to the show, Monica.
Oh, welcome. Nice.
Good to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming by.
Oh, great.
Let's get this. Now, when did you first realize that you wanted to do art?
I realized I wanted to do art when I was about 18 years old, 18, 19-ish. I wanted to create something, but I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. So I felt like it was a God thing, like I just had it in me, like a God-given talent. And I went to the art store and got some canvases and paint and started painting.
Well, now, 18 or 19, did you, anything before that? Did you?
Well, I was a entertainer. I liked entertainment a lot of that, a lot of like that show business, very, at a lower standard in a sense. Entertainment, you know what I'm saying, with the gowns and the beaded headrests and different things like that. So
now, when you say entertain, how did you entertain?
Well, there was some modeling I did do with a lady who liked at that time full-figured models. Okay. She was a designer, and she her husband was a house musician. He did house music. He wasn't a house musician, but he did house music. He was a musician, and also too in school I liked the dance groups, like the choreography, like a show they used to do in the 1990s was called In Living Color, or dance troupes, not just dance studios. I really liked dance a lot and still do. And I had
like a Fly Girls type of thing?
Yeah, I did a lot of that in high school, like some of that. So it was all intertwined, and I liked acting. I was able to kind of be on the outskirts of people who knew somebody who would tell the story. So I always liked entertainment and art, but I wasn't really sure where I fit in. I consider myself a serious artist. I need to get more time as an artist, though. I'm serious about what I do, but I don't have the time. I need to take more time to develop myself, not only as an artist, but to see where I can go as an artist.
Isn't that tough when you're trying to survive? I mean, it's so hard to dedicate enough time to art. I agree. I think that, well, I have 2 children, so I have to provide for them. So art isn't the only way, obviously, that I make an income. So I feel like I'm depriving. It's either or. It's either the kids or the art. And sometimes you have to, well, you always have to, the first priority is your children. But I know that there'll come a time when I'll be able to do full-time art. It's just not right now. But I don't dabble. I'm very serious. I'm respectful towards other artists. And I know that, eventually I'll get to a point, like I said, where I'll be full-time. So you think you can, in our area, I know you could in other areas, probably metro areas, but you think in our area you could actually make a living enjoying art here?
I think so. I think with a positive mindset and with like this building, I mean, if you have a strong clientele, I think that it could happen. You might not get it as quick as if you were in a metro area, but I do think it could happen. Yeah,
it's going to be slow to develop.
Oh, probably. Yes, definitely a slow development.
Now, you came to this building fairly recently. Did you have some kind of a vision here that you had in your mind that this was possibly going to be like develop into like an artist community type of thing, or didn't you care about that?
Well, I did care. I go by, one thing about me is names mean everything to me, meaning the reputation a person has, not if they make mistakes, but the character of a person. And I heard that there was an artist here named Pammy John, and
I know her.
Well, I wonder how, but I heard that she was here, and that name carries some weight, and it does with me, because as an artist you respect artists, like a football player respects those people on the field who have integrity. And I had been at a building previously where she did a mural. Yeah, I liked her work, and to me, if she was already here, then there was some potential, or a lot of potential, for me to be able to build a clientele, build my studio the way that I would like to. And I had already heard that there was reasonably priced, the studios here.
Well, she did Egyptian there, and as you can see,
she has
she
Egyptian
loves
here.
the Egyptian motif.
She does, and I respect that because she's giving shout outs and props to African American and African women and women all over in general, and that's a good thing. As artists, you do that. I like red hair. Now, obviously, bright red hair is not something normally African American women have.
Yeah.
Sometimes biracial women, that's fine, but I obviously like Irish, Welsh. I like Italian. All those histories are important. As an artist, you have to respect that. You can't just say your culture is more important than others. That just doesn't make sense. And I respect that about Pam.
And so do I.
Yeah. She's
and by the way, Pam is our videographer, as she always is. So there's the claw. She wears a lot of hats around here.
Yeah, mama artist.
The future of art. Do you see? How do you see the future of art? If you can identify what that is, I don't know what that is.
The future of art is, first of all, art schools. Let me say this nicely. Most of my friends that are good friends graduated from art school, which is good. That's a good thing. And they have told me that they're either teaching or opening up stores with retail art or books they're writing. And so there's a lot of art schools now. There's more art schools than there were 20 years ago.
Seems to be, yeah.
And there's more art schools now than there were 50 years ago. I don't even know if they were going on, or there was 50 years ago, there was probably classes in universities. I don't even know if there was a lot of art schools per se. And you have a lot of people taking classes online and saying, I'm designing, I'm an artist. That's why I'm careful when I say I'm an artist, because that also holds weight too. What do you do? How do you do it? What kind of art, what style? So I don't just throw that word around lightly, but I think that the future of art will be, if you don't have, the proof is in the pudding. If you're not really an artist, you're not going to stand as an artist. I just feel like that. Just like with music, you're a musician, so you would know that if you're not authentic, you're not going to be able to make it.
Yeah.
I really think that art can stand if we continue to, if schools continue to have the standards that they have. But if it's just this online stuff, you can send books in the mail, then what are you doing? I don't know. I don't know. I could be wrong.
It's this mass production type of thing that where the art loses itself in the mass
production. The flavor
production.
is not there.
It seems to me like people are paying more attention to art. I think you made that point earlier, where it's a little more prominent now than it ever has been.
Right.
When I was growing up, when you said art, if you called yourself an artist, people automatically put you in the category of a drawing artist or a painting artist. But now artist means a lot of things. The artist could be a designer, an entertainer, a musician.
Right.
So it has a wider spectrum of meaning.
Absolutely.
In our society, which is a good thing.
It is,
people are paying. I mean, if you look around the city, our humble little old town, you see much more art than you did even 10, 15 years ago.
I think that in the sense of artists being take for instance, there is a building over on Indianola going down the hill into Youngstown, onto Wilson, and someone has taken their paintings and put them on an abandoned building. That's beautiful to me. That's absolutely stunning. However, there's a difference between that's an authentic idea. I know bigger cities have always done that, but Youngstown's catching on, and that's a good thing. But like you said, with everyone saying this is art, I'm an artist, that you have to be, you just want to be careful. And I think that with the schools, again, back to the school, it doesn't take the same standard as it once did. You don't have a lot of John Whistlers anymore. You don't. And not to say that myself, I am even at that standard, but you don't have that same type of studying of art where people are doing research and even in studying art books anymore. People are just like going online and here, boom, here it is. It's like hotcakes.
Right.
Thank you.
And even myself, I have a loose style because that's the type of personality I have. But I've learned even to tighten that up and to go deeper into art, because art is more than just what you see. It's a mindset. It's how you live. And I think that a lot of younger, like you said with the celebrities, I'm an artist. Okay, I dress this way, I'm an artist. I'm this way, I'm an artist. it's something that people, when you say that word, I think that people want to be it. Like, oh, I'm an artist. That makes me feel good. People, like you said, you stand out. You know, like, oh, people pay attention to me because I'm an artist.
I think people throw that word around loosely. And there's another word that really annoys me is genius. They throw that word around like it's nothing.
No, I think that it's more like they would be called clever. They're clever, sophisticated, clever, but not. I do agree with you. I think it's like the old thing with greens, like, you know, like greens, like turnip greens or collard greens, or when you cook greens, it used to be a thing where you had to soak them and you cooked them for a long time. Now they have greens where you could pop them in the microwave. There's a lot of things in our society that are just produced really quick, and we've learned to adapt to that. Unfortunately, I don't agree with that all the time. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents on both sides, and I remember things they used to do that took a long time to produce. And I'm not saying that I don't agree. I do not agree. I agree with you that some of the younger artists, whether it be rock, hip hop, reggae, I don't consider them to be so much genius, but they're talented and they're clever, and they got signed, and God bless them. I don't, you know, I wish them well, but I agree.
Yeah.
I would say some of the older painters and artists and sculptors were more sincere. They took time and they sacrificed a lot to make what they made. They didn't make a lot. Michelangelo didn't make a lot of money. These people were commissioned by courts and kings even before that. Michelangelo, they didn't make a lot of money.
Right.
They did it because they wanted to do it.
At the mercy of whoever commissioned them to do a project for them. I wanted to jump back to, you said they take a lot of time, and unfortunately I go way back. You know, you're talking about greens, cooking greens in the microwave oven, and unfortunately I go back to pre-microwave days. I'm a fossil, I admit it, but I can remember coming home from school and waiting 40 minutes for a chicken pot pie to cook, you know, so I could get a snack. So now I still eat chicken pot pies, and they only take 5 minutes now. So
yeah, and I mean, but you've learned to adapt.
Yeah.
But back to the art thing. Just take your wife for instance. You would find it.
Take my wife. That's a Henny. I'm gonna take my wife, please.
Oh, God. You would find it really. It wouldn't be normal if she told you that she would create a piece of art like in an hour. I'm just saying, normally.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, she's old school, and she takes
a lot of time. I have to use her as an example because we're right here by her work, and I have to use her as an example because I can't use myself as an example in what I'm trying to tell you. That just wouldn't make sense. But I'm taking another artist's work and putting it out there. Or somebody like Picasso. I like Picasso because he knew all the styles of art, but yet he did a lot of things that he shouldn't. He broke the rules in a sense, and he took art apart. You know how like people can take apart a stereo or a car, but they're so gifted they could put it back together. I think that Picasso was like that. That's my opinion.
What do you mean he took art apart?
He took art apart. I mean, he did all these crazy things, like he had the faces elongated, and then he rolled cubism. Cubism is all these objects rolled over into one, but yet he was a good sketch artist. He went through the blue period. That was something that he
stripped it down.
Right.
He stripped it down to simple form, and then he added movement.
And
Cubism was all
but he knew how to sketch. He knew how to sketch and draw really well.
I think he was looking to break new ground or something, looking for something different, trying to get out of the traditional
mode. To me, he was a genius.
Mode.
That's my opinion. I'm not saying everyone agrees, but in some of the, like, you don't hear a lot about the African American artists, but Oswald Tanner. What's his first name, Pam? Is it Henry or James?
I don't know.
Well, was really, really good. You had your Jacob Lawrences, your Romare Beardens. You had a lot of black artists, that did the same. But, I think that artists, just like I said, has a future, but it's just, if you have other artists grooming other artists, that's why it's important to have these art buildings, because then you're grooming other artists to come in and say, okay, this is the standard, now we need to reach that standard. Even me as an artist coming into this building, there was already a standard here. Seriously, there was already a standard here. Okay, this is what we're doing. I hope that you're not going to mess this up for the artists that have already set ground here. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have to be like that when you're in art, because it is a business too. You don't want someone to bring it down. You
Right.
want someone that is either on your level or above or trying to get to that level.
Yeah. While you're on the topic, I wanted to tell everybody that every Saturday, you and us both are going to have kind of like an open house type of Saturdays. What else would you call
Open market.
open market?
Right,
How
right.
about? I wanted to ask you. You were talking about modern art. I was just curious. Did you like Salvador Dali at all?
I did like Salvador Dali. I haven't done a lot of studying on him. I do believe you should study on an artist before. He was one thing I liked about him is it seemed like, in a sense, like he put a lot of objects in his art. If you look at one of his paintings, I mean, there was things floating here, standing here, over here.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was a surrealist.
Abstract, surrealist, yeah.
He was a surrealist, and I really liked him.
A lot of objects melting.
Yes.
And just shaped real abstractly, and
It was almost like a dream, the way he had
yeah.
things done. I've never met an artist that I didn't like any of their work. Like there was something that I liked about them. They had something to offer. It's just like I said with myself, I want to develop more.
How about Youngstown art? Do you like Youngstown art?
I like some of the artists that are here. I think that there are artists that are here besides there's two groups here already, and I'm glad that they show locally. I think that gives us a little bit of flavor of our own. You know what I mean? But
You mean outside of the Butler and the McDonough's those, you mean?
Well, the Butler shows their own. They have their select. I'm sorry.
They have some national.
Yeah, they do, and international. And they live here in the area, but they go to Italy. And I've been down there and talked to the curator, and he's told me they go here, they go there. Now, my art in particular doesn't fit in with theirs, and it's been told to me that.
Really?
Yes.
Why wouldn't they?
Because they sell at a national level or an international level. So that's fine. That's their standard. And and it's not that it doesn't look like theirs, but it doesn't sell like theirs. You understand what I'm saying?
No, what about your art wouldn't sell internationally?
Every art has a market. I don't think that my art did well there. I did do a group show there in 2005. I didn't get the response that I wanted. It didn't come back as well. I have taken some formal art classes, but more in art theater and art history, and so I'm not trained to do that particular style of work, commercial in a sense.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful art down there. It's very good. But I'm just saying that's not my market.
Yeah, they call themselves a American art, basically.
Yeah.
Do they still have the American Indian exhibits?
That's permanent, right?
Yeah,
That's a permanent exhibit.
The history of American art,
Right.
and
Okay.
contemporary too.
Okay. So we already asked you if you thought you could make a living. How good of a living do you think? How well do you think?
I almost want to say, and this is bad. This is not good. When I tell you the numbers, it would be just making it. I could see an average artist in Youngstown making $30,000 to $35,000 a year. I could see that. Now that is that's not low income, but it's close to poverty in a sense. Now the reason why I say that, because we have to build the market in Youngstown. Youngstown, there are some people that sell here that I've heard about, but I haven't heard about people buying $20,000 pieces of art and $10,000 pieces of art here. I haven't heard of it. I don't know. I don't know if it's true.
No, I've never heard of it myself.
Not that you need to sell that all the time, but the artists that are making money, they're making.
You might be able to do that with murals.
Murals.
They're $12, $15, $25, $3,500 pieces, maybe so. But I mean, you used to have to sell a lot of those to make $80,000, $90,000 a year.
Speaking of murals, would you ever do a mural?
Yes, I would.
Have you ever done any?
I have never done any for anyone else besides myself. Just freestyle and
But you feel confident enough in your
I do
work
feel
that
confident. Yes, I do.
You could do a mural. Could you do a large scale mural?
Well, what kind of large? 15 feet long?
Yeah, like a
20
wall
feet?
like that, perhaps. Maybe a wall that big.
I do. I feel like I could be confident enough to do.
Okay, great. What would be what would you call your style? Have you ever thought about that?
That's a tough question. I don't like to be called an abstract artist because I want to break new ground in a sense for myself. You know, technically nobody knows me, so who am I doing this for? I'm doing it because I enjoy art. You know what I mean? So I don't have anything.
And
to
you're
prove.
working towards
Right.
Your recognition, right?
Right. Well, yes, but no one knows me, and I'm not doing it for that. Because if I do it for that, then I'll lose focus. I think people just give you respect based upon, again, what we said, being authentic. So my style would just be, I do contemporary art, but I don't want to say I just do abstract. Because that's so vast. That's just like saying the wall is blue. Well, what kind of blue? You know, what you're not telling me much.
Yeah.
I think that I like mixed media, mixing things with paint. I like the way that it comes out. I like textures. I like
You mean like using material with paint and stuff?
like fabric and buttons and different things. I like figurative art, but yet and still I like to pull back, and I like that abstract edge. So I would say that I don't do traditional art. I'm a non-traditional artist in that sense.
Mixed media.
Mixed media. Yeah.
Assemblages.
Yeah.
Assemblages. That's a good word.
Yeah, assemblages is when you take different media and put it together in an assemblage.
Too many politics in art. Like even these questions are like, oh gosh.
Sorry.
No, you don't have to be. I need to be challenged now and then. But I need to know how to do more than art. But I like what your wife said, Pam, assemblages. I like that word. That's really good.
And marketing is always the toughest. Don't you think? I mean, marketing is so difficult.
For me to take the artist hat off, or the business hat, that's like me trying to grow my hair out. It doesn't happen very quick.
I hear you.
It doesn't. My hair's been short all my life. I can't do anything. But I'm seriously, on a serious note, marketing is really tough for some artists. That's why schools have begun to become so popular, because artists are saying, okay, we're going to teach you marketing, web design, graphics. We're going to take you medical illustration. So they know that they'll get all that. Schools offer that now for the
Well, you know,
artists.
my son's graduating from YSU this year, and
Who is a phenomenal artist, by the
He
way.
is. He's
So
wonderful.
before
Thank
I go any further on the school tip, God bless you, Parrish. He's got it going on. He's a phenomenal
fine
sketch
artist.
artist.
He
Yes,
is.
he is a true fine artist.
Yeah. But getting back to your point there about, I guess well-rounded is what they want the kids to be, and he's had to take so many things that he complained about not being related to what he is and what he wants to do, but in a sense they really are. You talked about all the things, you touched on all the things that they're teaching.
Well, he's your whole family. They're gifted, truly, from the bottom of my heart. You guys are a gifted
thank
family. And it reminds me of the circus family. If you look at this is going back to what I said about being groomed. Because you can't just learn, even though I'm sure he's learned a lot in school, he probably learned a lot from you all. Like the circus families, how they walk the tightrope, they learn that. That's a generation thing. They don't just learn that like from a school. They have to, or the aerial artists that come here, even at the Cavelli Center. The last aerial artist here, her and her mother performed, and then her grandmother and her mother also performed. So we have to groom artists to be.
Pammy gave Paris art supplies when he was barely able to walk. I mean,
God!
You know, she taught him art from then, and then along the way I realized he has a very gifted voice. He's a great singer.
So he's a singer too.
Yeah, but he's not remotely interested in it.
He likes art.
Yeah, he wants to draw and stuff. But if he walks around the house, he sings. He sounds like Michael Jackson and.
But he doesn't have it. He doesn't want to sing.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But he's still young.
Yeah, he could change, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But
Never
that's
know.
fine. You know, it's maybe I don't know. Maybe he
He wants
shouldn't
to be
anyway.
a comedian.
And that's all intertwined too.
And comedy, he's very funny
Right.
too, and he loves that part of the entertainment business.
That's
Comedy,
good though
so,
to have different. He's becoming well-rounded. But if you look at it, most singers, if you like Beyonce, had a documentary, who I think is a phenomenal entertainer. She most men look at the obvious, and no offense.
Yeah, she's
but,
beautiful.
Well, she's attractive, but she's a good entertainer. She's solid. She knows
tremendous
she
singer.
she can sing, she can dance, she can jump, she can write, and she can produce. But she also is a really good painter. She is a really good painter. She said she wanted to be an art teacher. John Mellencamp, John Cougar, even though I love his music, I love that grassroots folk sound that he did in, you know, the 80s was, I love his 80s music, but he was just showed at the Butler.
Yeah.
And he was really good. He was real, and
I didn't see his
one
work,
of the Rolling Stones, they're really good. I mean, a lot of this.
Tony Bennett.
I heard Tony Bennett was a really good artist.
Yeah, he's very good.
So
check his work out.
Yeah,
sometime.
I heard that. No, he has a book out. He has a couple books on his art. Do you have one? Yeah.
I think one of them.
And he's got a beautiful voice.
Yes, he does.
He is a.
Now you mentioned
somebody's at
your son is also an artist, correct?
Yes, he is a musician. Brendan is a musician. I want him to go further, but we'll see what happens.
Does he play an instrument?
Yes, he learned at an artist residence I lived in Cleveland, and a lot of my friends again groomed him, and then he was able to have mentors that came.
Oh, that's good.
That's
so important.
The grooming process of an artist or any trade is important, just as important as if you had formal training, because you have to learn the character of what you're doing too. It's not just the educational background.
Well, there are a lot of great American success stories, but if you look into these people's backgrounds that are very successful, and when we say successful, we talk about recognition and money and all that. But if you look into their background, you'll find a support system on most of them.
Right.
Now there are these success stories, these great American success stories that somebody jumps out. They came from poverty. They had nothing. They had no one to teach them anything, and they made it. But that doesn't happen very often.
No.
Most of the success stories had a good support system.
Absolutely. Do you think that there's artists that will come here that we will be able, in a sense, even though we're completely different, in a sense, but most artists have similar mindsets. Do you think that we'll be able to groom artists or even rub off enough for artists to learn something from here?
The problem with this area, and we're losing young people.
Yeah,
they're leaving.
Point. Yeah.
And so that diminishes our role a little bit in terms of being, I guess, role models.
You do, but I think that a lot of women aren't risky enough to take that risk and say, I'm going to rent a $25, $50, $75 space every month and show my work because I got kids, I got that, and it's excuse after excuse. I know a few women who could have, but they didn't. I don't know why. I'm not to judge, but they didn't take the risk. You've got to take risk as an artist. You have to learn how to make sometimes decisions that aren't always premeditated and always don't make sense when because when you sell art, it's a business. That don't always make sense. That's all I'm saying. And I think that a lot of people, like Pam said, they're coming now to a point where they have the time, and it's always been in them, and they want to release that creativity, but they didn't have the time to do it when they were younger. And
you are taking those risks.
I like being bold. I like being a risk taker,
and we admire that.
Thank you.
We really do.
Thank you.
I think you're a strong woman. I think
Oh,
you really
thank
are.
you.
You have 2 boys you're raising.
Thank you.
You're working a full-time job, right?
Yes, I'm there 45 hours a week.
Full-time job. That's something to be admired.
Thank you.
Well, it's great to have you.
Thank
come
you
by
for
and
having
visit
me.
with us. And,
Sure.
But by all means, the door's always open. You can
Okay.
come back and we'll do some more interviews and show you. We are going to show you art on this show. We hope you enjoyed the show today. My name's Tommy Chris. Monica Currie was our guest. Pammy John was our videographer. And we sure hope that you'll watch us soon again. So long from Tommy Chris TV.